didn't make the live but are watching it, I appreciate you guys for watching it. Um, Nothing really going on today. We're just gonna wait for a few people to come in. Hopefully, we got a couple. I'll probably just be live for like 30 minutes. So if you guys do want to join the live in the future, make sure you guys have your notifications on, and that way y'all can ask me questions or we can talk about your business. More so lawn care business, obviously. If you guys are just stopping by, still appreciate it. Make sure you guys like, share, comment, and we'll wait for a couple people to join, hopefully. 30 minutes, we got a few errands I got to do, so probably 30 minutes. If there are a few people, maybe 40 minutes, but time will tell. Just drinking plain chamomile tea. I've been getting on my feed a lot of, what is it, like that Chinese baddies. Pretty much what you do throughout the day is you just drink hot tea with no sugar, no honey, and then just tea bag and hot water. And it's supposed to help your digestive system. It's supposed to just kind of like flush everything out. So I already had my coffee this morning. But even for coffee, I've kind of cut back on sugars. Been really trying to focus on my health. And yeah, I've been more active. I've been running a little bit more. I think this week I've done 20 miles. I think Monday I did 7. Tuesday I took off. Wednesday I did like 5 miles. And then I did 2 miles. Yesterday I did 4 miles. I think today I'll just probably do like a quick 2 mile. But really just trying to work on my health. I was at I was at like 190, close to like 200, and right now I'm sitting at 172. I kind of weighed myself this morning, so in about 2 months I've pretty much lost like 20 pounds. All consistency. It's all consistency. It's all me doing things that I don't want to do. It's like I don't want to go out running. Like, I don't want to be eating healthy. Like, it's so easy for me to like be on the couch and kind of like be lazy and go on YouTube, watch my shows, eat whatever I want. But at the end of the day, like, I wasn't really happy where I was, like, physically. I had to wear or buy bigger clothes. And for me, more so, I gain weight during winter because I'm not working, right? Like, I'm not really doing that much physical stuff because of our season slow. So this is the first year where I've kind of really buckled down on my health and finally paying off. So it was pretty much like a month of me not really seeing any progress. And as I kept doing it, now I'm getting some feedback or some comments like, "Oh, hey, like you're slimming down, you're losing weight." So that's always encouraging, and it kind of like helps me keep going and keep staying on this track because sometimes it's miserable. Like last night was pretty rough for me because um, and what I'm doing is I'm also doing OMAD, and if you guys don't know what that is, pretty much it's like one meal a day, and pretty much what I've been doing is I've been exercising OMAD, which is that one meal a day, and typically I'll eat around like 2 to 4 or 1 to 4, and that's where I feel like I get like I'm the hungriest, or I really get hungry. And then really it's just counting your calories. You want to make sure, or I'm making sure that I'm eating a lot of protein, getting my vegetables, avocados, things that are gonna like keep me full throughout the day, like sweet potatoes. Um, and then that's how I'm able to last, pretty much like 24 hours with just like eating once a day. Um, what is it? Big Migo says, "Are you Mexican?" Yes, I'm Mexican. My parents were immigrants. Um, I was born in Chicago, and then when I was like 12, I moved to Los Angeles. And from 12 to like 26, I lived there. And pretty much, I worked at a very early age. At 12, I was already working in a Mexican restaurant. I would go out do deliveries. I would be in front of the restaurant and be yelling like, I'll say it in Spanish, but I ought to be saying like pásenle, vendemos tortas, tacos, burritos, and that translates to come on in. We sell tacos, burritos, hot sandwiches, seafood, and pretty much I would do that from like 9 up till 4, and then I would get on the bus and go back home, and I would always take the bus to work and from work at like 12 years old. Um, and I think that really set me up who I am today. Um, and from the age of 13 to 17, I pretty much stayed at that restaurant. And it was kind of like, like they were taking advantage of me. It was kind of like child labor, because I was doing that for what, like 8 hours a day. And when I first started, I was making $10 the whole day. And by the time I left when I was 17, I was making $25 the whole day, 25 or $30 the whole day. Um, but they would feed me. Towards the end or towards the middle of working there, I was I would go out and deliver. So when you see like a little, chunky Hispanic, 13, 14-year-old kid giving you, your food or taking you your food, and pretty much I would get on a bike and deliver their food, I would get tips. So I would, tips would make a big chunk of, how much of my paycheck, I guess. Because in a day I would make anywhere from like 50 up to like $100 of tips, plus my 20, $25. So as a 13, 14-year old, making anywhere from 100 to 150, that was good money for me, and that's how I was able to really buy things, because my parents didn't, um, you know, that I didn't have the luxury to, like, having like video games or nice clothes, nice shoes. Really not that many toys growing up. But because I worked at an early age, I was able to buy those things for myself. And even when I got my first job, everyone around me was older than me. I was 17 by that around that time. And everyone was like, "Oh, this is so stressful." And it was a coffee shop music, and I was like, "Really?" I was like, "This is not stressful." My old job where I was getting paid below minimum wage was stressful. I was like, this is not stressful." Um, and most of my jobs, like, I compare it to that, and none of them, except one, was as hard as that job. So that job really um, made a big impact on who I am, my work ethic, how I am. Even though I was taken advantage of, um, I don't really look at it. I mean, I'm aware of it, but the other side is, you can't put a price on my work ethic and everything that I did learn, growing up. And it was easy for me to save up money because I knew how hard it was for me to get money. Sarah, hello. Hello, welcome. We do have a few people in the stream, so I appreciate y'all. Jeff, I've been doing a lot of walking, trying to lose weight. Yeah, so back to losing weight. It's honestly all about counting your calories. And the one thing you guys have to keep in mind is, do not drink your calories, because it is so easy for you to drink your calories. And to make from I'm no health expert. I'm not shredded by any means, but going from 200 to 170 in pretty much a month, um, I'm telling you guys what's helped me. And the one thing is, um, do not drink your calories. Even now, I have my tea, no sugar, no honey, because I do not want to count. I don't want to drink my calories, because like, when I was drinking, I've had one soda in 3 weeks, and even then it was like a Diet Coke, so I had 0 calories, but it's still not good for you. Um, but when I was drinking regular sodas, like, I would drink like five within, in a day, and that itself is like 600 calories. And sodas, or just drinks in general, they're not gonna fill you up, so it's very easy for you to go over your calories just from drinking. Um, And what I do is I just type it in. I have like a little scale. I'll type it into Chat GPT and tell them how many calories I'm at. And what's working for me is you want to be in a calorie deficit. So pretty much you want to be, I'm still eating, so I'm not starving myself, but I am at a calorie deficit. So say like the normal person, we should be eating about like 22 to 2400 calories a day to maintain our weight. But a lot of us, um, will go over that. So we'll be eating like 3000, 3500 calories without even knowing it. And that's how we keep gaining weight, year after year. So at a calorie deficit, I'm eating about, my target is 1200 to 1500 calories in a day. And like I said, like typically towards the end of the night is when I really start to get hungry, and um, I struggle a little bit come the night. But that's why I typically like to eat towards like the end of, like towards the middle of the day, so that I'm not struggling so much at night. But yeah, 1200 to 1300, 1200 to 1500 calories in a day. And at that point, like I'm at a deficit at about like 800 to 1000 calories, and that's not including if I'm running or if I'm walking. um, that'll give me even like even more of a buffer or even more of a deficit. So if I'm, typically if I'll do 2 miles, that's about like 400 calories that you add to my deficit, and that's really helping me out. And it's not like I'm not working out crazy. Like I'm not going to the gym. I'm not doing heavy weights. Like I'm not doing anything heavy. It's literally just like counting your calories and really, like I said, not drinking your calories. And that one meal a day, like I'm kind of like eating whatever I want at first, and now because when you first start off, you are gonna lose like weight quickly because your body's not used to it. But at a certain point, like your body's gonna get used to um, you being in a deficit, so you kind of have to like start changing your diet. Um, KDK, what is your favorite piece of equipment? Um, I, I mean, the easiest would be being on the mower, right? So like when you're on your stand-on mower, if you don't have like a push mower, my favorite piece of equipment would be a stand-on mower because um, it's easier. My least favorite thing would be weed eating, but at the same time, like I don't mind weed eating because you get more of a workout. Big Migo, long live the race. Yeah, yeah. Hispanics, we're built a little different. Like we have good work ethic. We're typically good people. We always try to help out, but we have our own challenges too, we can be envious a lot, especially in my part of the family. We're alcoholics. We love to drink. um, and for me, like when I was growing up, like my uncles, my cousins, they would constantly always be drinking, and I thought that was normal. And it wasn't until I started my family, and we would go out to, you know, on her side of the family, they rarely drink. They'll drink one or two, and for us, it's like we would drink until we like get drunk or buzzed. Um, and then for me, I'll drink, but it's only like special occasions now. If we're having like lunch or dinner at a friend's house, like I'll have like two or three. But I would say within the past like 6 months, I've had maybe a 12 pack, if that. Maybe I would say 12 pack within the last 6 months. Amigo says, same here, start at a young age. Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with it, with starting at a young age. I had to out of necessity. I wanted nice things growing up. I wanted Jordans. I wanted, back then it was Reeboks and Sean John, you know, Nike. And my parents, they couldn't spend back then maybe like 30, $40, on a sweater or a shirt. We would have to go to thrift stores. And it was kind of like embarrassing for me to go into these thrift stores with my parents because I knew it was a thrift store. Like I knew it was like, low quality, kind of like for lower class, for poor people. And for me, like I hated going with my mom. And I needed to go so I can try the clothes, but I was so embarrassed of like someone seeing me or my friends seeing me, and they're like, "Oh, you shop here," um, and that's why I kind of started working at a young age just so that I can buy myself nice things. And we had the essentials. We had a roof over our head. We always ate. Parents, they love me and I love them. But we just, they were immigrants. They did the best they could. They brought me. They came to this country not knowing the language, and they did the best they could with what they had. And now it's kind of me. I obviously wouldn't be here with them. Um, but I do remember, being a little bit embarrassed, and you know, I was kind of like embarrassed of our situation. But now reflecting back on it, it's like, like I understood it. Back then I was kind of like upset and angry, because I'm a little kid just throwing a tantrum. And now it's just, just being grateful for them for just doing the best they could with what they, with what they had. And a lot of us think, or I thought when I was a little kid, that my parents had it figured out. And now I'm older, I was like, I don't even have it figured out. So um, I had this mindset that my parents as adults like knew everything, and it's like they're still kids. They were still trying to figure it out. Eden, look into doing water fast. I lost 10 pounds and kept it off. Also fixed heartburn, digestions issues, and no more dandruff. All from just a 3-day water fast. Yeah, I've done fasting. I've done a water fast. The most I've done is 3 days as well. Um, the thing with fasting is that, say you'll do a 3-day water fast, and then you'll go back to like eating and drinking whatever you want, and it's kind of like defeats the whole purpose of it. Which fasting has so many benefits. If you guys haven't looked into it, from the little that I know, it's pretty much, we have bad cells in our systems, and when you starve your flesh, when you starve your body naturally is going to start attacking these bad cells, these cancerous cells, and start eating those cells instead of the food and the fat that you would eat. And that's where you get a lot of your the benefits from. You start feeling better. If you felt bloated before, you no longer feel bloated. And it's kind of like just crazy what our bodies know what to do automatically. And it's in the Bible. Jesus fasted for 40 days. And a lot of people fast. It says throughout the Bible, like, if you want to get closer to God, fast. Ask for His strength throughout the fasting, and really just stick to water fasting. You could do just black coffee or like an Americano. Again, no sugar, no cream, no honey, or teas. How I'm doing it with no sugar or honey, to help you out. But fasting's hard. Typically for me, the second and third day, I get a crazy migraines. I don't see myself. I've done a 24-hour fast while working. I don't see myself doing like a 48-hour fasting while working, or a 30. What is it? 72-hour fast? Yeah, 72-hour fast. My longest is a 80-hour fast. But it was during winter, and I was just kind of like in the house. And on that third day, like, I slimmed down, like I felt better. But the second, typically for me, the second day is brutal. Where headache, I'll go to sleep by 6 or 7, so I can just sleep it off, and then the next day, like, okay, I feel better. CLP Lawn Care, what's up, Weezy from Michigan? Can't wait to get back to mowing. Yep, CLP, same here. Next week we're supposed to hit the 70, so that's crazy. I was just talking to my wife this morning, saying how I don't remember last year during this time getting this warm already, but it's great news for us, because those weeds are going to start growing. Some of these yards are going to start growing, and then we're going to start getting those phone calls. This week I am going to start sending more of my clients that text reminder. So I don't know if you guys saw one of my videos. I gave you guys some examples of what I'm texting my clients. But same thing, you want to get ahead of it. You want to just, you shouldn't be waiting for your clients to text you. Like, you want to like set your expectations. Hey, Miss Margaret will be there at the beginning of March. Expect us bi-weekly. And so be it. Then because I've gotten a couple people that have like they've told me like, hey, sign up with our CRM system. It'll send like automatic text. Even that, like, I feel like it's an extra step that we don't need. We don't need, like, I shouldn't have to be sending reminders the day before. And how I think of it, it's kind of like Netflix or Disney. Like, when they're gonna charge your card on file, they don't send you like a reminder the day before. They just charge your card. And that's what I'm going for. Like, it's a subscription. Now, if they're older folks and they're stuck in their ways, they want to pay with a check, I'll text them. If they have dogs or if their gate's closed and they have a lock, I'll text them. So there are exceptions, but only if they fall really under just those couple categories that I listed. If you have an open fence or if you have an open gate, your yard is open, there's no need for me to text you. And if they feel like they need to be home to see me work, I'm not the lawn care for you. We're not it. And that's okay. Before I would kind of like bend over backwards because I was so desperate for the job that I would do that. Oh, text me the day before, text me 30 minutes before. And it's like, okay, I'll do it. And then at a certain point, it's like, wait, like, if I have like 60, 80, 100 clients, like, I can't keep doing this because, you know, the argument would be, well, it only takes like 2, 3 minutes. Yes. Now you multiply that by 100, that's a couple hours. And if you keep doing that, like, it's not sustainable. And it's like, well, those 2, 3 hours, like, I'd rather be home with the family or just sitting on the couch or going on a run, or going on live with you guys, right? And it's like, at a certain point, like, you need to start getting that time back, and really like buckle down on your policies for your business. And I'm still learning, but I knew right away that I couldn't keep doing that. Dur, good morning. Good morning, Dur. Welcome. We got a few people here. Juan Perez, shout out from Dallas, Texas. Appreciate it. What time is it in Dallas? I know because I'm at Easter time. I'm ahead of most of you guys or most of the other states. It's 11:20 right here. But I know back in California they're like 3 hours behind. But I don't know all the time zones. Juan Perez, started my lawn care since 2025. This is going to be my second year with 11 clients as a part-time since I have a full-time. That's awesome. With 11 clients, I would say maybe you'll end with like 35 to 40 clients maybe this year. Hopefully 40 clients. How many clients are you expecting to start this season off? Because my first year, when I started with 0 clients, I think I ended that year with 17 clients, and then the following year, I had like 37 to 40 clients, and then last year I started with 35 clients, and we finished like very close to 70, and then this year we're starting with like 50 or 60 clients. We might hit 100 this year. We'll see. I am being more selective, like I said. So even if we get like 30 or 20 clients that, they're good with my new policies, that's still a win for me. Right now, I'm not so much focused on like the numbers of clients anymore. I'm switching over to like the quality of clients, moving forward. But yes, so we all start, I think we all have, very similar stories when we first start off. We do this as a part-time. We see a little bit of that money, and then we start thinking like, oh, I can do this. If I'm able to do this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and have Friday, Saturday, Sunday off for like, in case we get rained on, like, I'll make good money, and then either close. Most of the time is you'll be making more than your full-time job. And then, your next question would be, when do I go full-time? Which is, that video I just posted, I think yesterday, of when you should leave your 9 to 5, or when I left my 9 to 5 job. But it's even just thinking about. I think it's a lot of us don't really. I don't know. A lot of us don't really. We forget like that. Like, that was like our biggest milestone. For me, it's like, I left my job. Like, I don't work for anyone. Like, I am my own boss. I'm able to pay all my bills. I don't answer to anyone anymore. And that's a big milestone. So if you're there, congratulations. And if you've been here, don't forget that that itself is a big milestone. And not, I don't know the statistics. I'm sure we can look it up, but I'm sure like very few people ever achieve that big milestones where we get out of the rat race, we stop working for someone else. And realistically, this is kind of like financial independence, financial freedom. You made it. You're your own boss, so that's, don't don't sell yourself short. And sometimes I do, and sometimes I have to kind of like take a step back and be like, dang, like I made it, and I think it's just in our nature, like we constantly want more, we want more, we're never happy, that we oversee everything that we started with, or how we, how far we've made it. For me, I started with a little Corolla, push mower, Ryobi products, I had a little trimmer and blower, and I would go out, and now look at me, have a nice setup and have like 60 clients. Big Migo says facts. Thank you, sir. Lewis, welcome, Lewis. I currently got 57 clients. I dropped a lot of headache clients that pay slow or want skips every visit. I'm definitely putting $50 minimum on my new door hangers to filter out the cheap clients. Yeah, my minimum since I first started was always 55. I do have one of my first clients that I bid at 50. But the only reason why I haven't, that saying, like, if it's not broken, why fix it? So one of the reasons that I've had this client for 3 to 4 years, I've never raised his prices, because he doesn't give me any pushback. He always pays on time. And ultimately, I think he knows he got a good deal. I mean, it takes us like between the two of us like 15 minutes. So I think he knows he got a good deal out of it. But for me, he's been such a great client that I'm just, I just, if this continues, he's always going to be stuck at 50, because it was like clients like that kind of like kept me going. It's like, okay, like if I get like 10 clients like that, I'll make $500 a day. And then as you keep growing, you're like, oh, like I should have charged more, or I'm kind of getting the short end of the stick. But it's like, past Manny was all over this, and he's been a good client, and I'm gonna keep him. But my minimum is 55 for, like, I'm saying, for like small cookie cutter yards where we're in and out of, in 10 minutes. But yeah, every year you should be dropping a few clients. Every year you should be like, make a little list, or typically it's like 4 or 5 clients that are constantly texting you, saying like, hey, we haven't had any rain, can you skip us or check back with us next week? And when you have a good bit of clients, like, they don't realize, like you should have like selective routes where, like, okay, Monday I'm on this side of the town, Tuesday I'm on the opposite side of the town. And when they skip, or when they ask you to be skipped, like, it throws off all your schedule. And like I said, like, at first, I was doing that, like, okay, no worries, I'll check back, because I was so afraid of losing the account. But then eventually you're like, okay, like, one, you got a good deal out of this, but I was willing to get the short end of the stick. But now you're asking to be skipped. It's like they kept pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. And then eventually, for me, I would either drop them, or I'd give them, what was it? I would give them an option, be like, hey, like, moving forward, I need a card on file. I bill at the beginning of the month. And I don't longer skip. And they either said, thank you, we appreciate the business you've given, or your services, we no longer need it. Or they be like, okay, no problem, I understand. And a lot of the times, like, they don't realize how you don't even have to be busy, but just explain it to them like you are. And that's what I was doing. I was like, hey, on Mondays I'm only in Noonan on Mondays, and then Tuesdays we're in Sonoya, which is the other side of the town. Like, I can't keep skipping you. And pretty much what I would tell them is like, I can skip one more time, but if you skip again, you're gonna be taken off of the route. And then they're like, okay, like, a lot of people just don't think of it like that. Like, they're so selfish and they just want to save money, that they're like, okay, like, I didn't think about that, but that makes sense. And I've had a few people that's I still have, after having that conversation or sending that text message with them, because it is frustrating, because Right now it's like 3 or 4 months that I haven't really been working, and I'm excited to get back to it. And during the growing season, like I only have like 8 months to really go out there and try to make as much as I can, right? And if clients are constantly asking to be skipped, like that's more money that like I'm losing. And eventually it's like, I'm done. You don't get it. Thank you. And we'll go our separate ways and whatnot. So DH lawn service. Yes, I remember doing that at the beginning. Yeah. And a lot of us have that mindset. I don't know if a lot of us, but I had that mindset where it's like I was so scared to like shake the boat or rock the boat that I didn't want to lose the client, because it is hard to, to land clients when you first start off. Juan Perez had his first year, he only landed 11 clients. So that second year, out of those 11 clients, like you don't want to lose any of those 11 clients. So if they want to be skipped, if they want, um, if they want you to text them, you're gonna say yes because you're so afraid to kind of like rock the boat and lose those accounts or lose those clients, because you know how hard it was for you to get those clients in the beginning. um, which I understand, and there's a lot of people out there, a lot of long-term providers that would say you're doing too much, get rid of them. And maybe they didn't go through that, maybe they didn't deal with that, but I did, so I understand that your hesitation to push back or to kind of like rock the boat, because I was like that. But at a certain point, once you have 50, 60 clients, 40 clients, you'd be like, okay, like I'm so tired of this one account, of this one person BS, always skipping, paying late. Um, Drop them or have that conversation with them, because one thing about me is like, I'm very open to listen to it like every side, because I know what I'm saying isn't always right. But most of the things that I say is just from my personal experience, what's worked for me and what hasn't worked for me. So, in one of my, you know, maybe like 3, 4 months ago, in one of my videos, I would say, if they don't want to be serviced during winter, I'm gonna drop them. And then I got a couple people saying like, hey, you're losing money if they don't want to be serviced during the off season. Just raise their prices, and if they stick, that's kind of like that kind of makes up for the winter that you're not servicing them. But at least you're still making 8 months worth of revenue from them if they didn't really give you problems. And that made sense, right? And it's kind of like my ego, and because I'm getting bigger, I'm like, I don't need you, f you, or whatever, like I'm done with your BS or whatever, that I was willing to leave that 8 months of revenue on the table. And it's like, that does make sense to me. It makes sense right now, right? It's like, okay, it's still 8 months of revenue, they didn't give me any issues, I'm going to increase the prices. If they say yes to everything else, that's still a win. And that was one of the screenshots that I shared with y'all in my recent video, where I texted this guy. I haven't been there since October, but I raised his prices by like $20, and he said okay. And I told him I need a card on file. He said okay, let's do that. And I was just gonna not even reach out to him anymore. I was gonna be like a scumbag, you know. because um because I was just so over it. I was just so frustrated. Like, oh, you're leaving me high and dry during winter, that I'm not even gonna text you anymore. But then you guys called me out, and it's like, okay, like maybe they're right. Maybe I should take him back, raise his prices by $20, and see if he sticks around. If not, then I didn't want him to begin with. And he said yes. He said okay to the $20, and he said okay to the card on file. He said okay to billing at the beginning of the month. So that's a win. Eden's Garden. Dropping lawns too. I had to drive 30 minutes weekly for one lawn, $80. I don't regret having them back when I had more free time. Then money that money it helped me buy my ZK61, but now I am busy and losing money. Yeah. And pretty much that's where you want to get to, right? Like you start off, you're hungry, and there's I make memes, there's memes out there. I've made them where, of the cheap guy, the cheap $20, $30 long guys, or $40, $50 long guys that, every season they're going to come in and they're going to go into your areas, into your neighborhoods that you already have, and they're going to take some of your clients away from you. And it is frustrating, again, because we go back to like how long it takes us to land those clients. And then someone new comes and they underbid themselves, and you're like, how can I'm charging like 60? How are they able to charge you 30? Like, how are they making money? Um, and then typically what happens is come summer, once it's miserable out here or out there, they stop showing up, and then those clients reach out back to you. Um, but that was me. When I first started, I was lowballing myself. I was underbidding just to get the job. But the difference between me is, which I'm sure there's a lot of people out there like that. Like, I pushed through those summers. Like, I still kept going. But as I kept getting busier, you have to realize, like Eden said, you're losing money. I'm driving an hour away to do a $80 yard, and then I'm driving an hour back, so that's 2 hours to realistically do 1 yard. And if you're doing that throughout the week, like, how many yards how much time are you losing? How many yards can you do in a week just from you doing that? Yeah, and you're only going to get busier every year. You're only going to get busier. It's only going to get better. And that's where I'm at. I was like, okay, I need to take some of that money back. I need to be better with my policies. I need to be sending service agreements. I'm not driving far away anymore. And you have to make those decisions where you're dropping clients, even though they've been great clients. They've never asked to be skipped. They pay on time. You still have to drop them because of the commute or how far they are. And I did that too. For me, I was driving 40 minutes with an employee to do 1 yard, and then 40 minutes back. And, I texted him that I wasn't able to do it. Like, unfortunately, I can't keep doing this. And he called me right away. He's like, man, can we talk about it? Increase my price. I understand it. You know, he wanted us to keep going. And I was just honest, like, even if I increase the price, like, it still doesn't make sense. And, you know, there's accounts that I even now I still drive far away, but I'm hoping that eventually I'll land more of their neighbors or someone else that's like in that area. But for him, it was like 2 years, and he was still the only one, my only account in that area, or my only client in that neighborhood. And I was like, and I told him, I was like, it's been 2 years. I was hoping for one of your neighbors or a couple of your neighbors to sign up with me, and unfortunately, no one's signing up with me, and I just don't see them doing it if it's been this long. And he understood. But for him, I gave him like a month notice. So I was like, hey, like, I'll still service you 2 more times, but then after that, unfortunately, I can no longer service you. And he understood. Dillis, Weezy, you advertising yet? Happy Sunday. Welcome back, Dillis. I really don't advertise anymore. Just because of my Google page. I kind of let my Google page kind of do its own thing. But no, I used to, when I first started, I was advertising on Nextdoor. But same thing, like, a lot of the clients that go on Nextdoor aren't really like high quality clients. They're just looking for a random cut every now and then. They're not looking for like anything serious. And for me, how I look at it, it's like, if someone Googles like lawn care, they go that extra step to like look for a lawn care provider. Most likely it means like they're serious, like they want to sign up. It's going to be a long-term thing. It's not just like a spring and summer thing or summer thing. Because, during spring, you'll get like, I'll get my spring rush. And those are pretty much going to be like cleanup jobs from fall or during winter that people are finally getting into, because like, oh, we still have a lot of leaves and grass is about to start growing, like, we need to clean it up. And I'll get like a few of those calls. But during summer, I also, get a lot of calls because a lot of homeowners are just tired of cutting their grass and they don't want to be out there when it's like 105 degrees out. So they call me. And during summer, I'll increase my prices even more or jack up my prices because I know the clients that sign up with me during summer, it's only during summer. So I'm still gonna, obviously, I still want the money and the job, but it's gonna be like a win-win situation where like, hey, like you're paying a premium. Like for me, it's like it doesn't make sense for me to charge clients during summer the same as clients that have been with me since spring, knowing that most of these clients that sign up with me during summer are going to drop me regardless. Um, so for me, it's kind of like a win-win situation. Where like, yep, I'll add you to a, if we have, we obviously have like the schedule or the slots available, but I'm gonna charge you a premium for it to be fair, I guess. Because I don't want to, we're working harder. My body's, like whatever these homeowners are going through, like I'm going through it too. Like I'm out there miserable. It's hot. I gotta. What I started doing is I'll get like a big, what is it, like uh, a gallon water, and it's specifically just to like throw over our heads. And we'll be doing that throughout the day. I'll take a couple extra shirts, but it's miserable. And it's like, okay, like I'm not gonna charge you the same 65 that I was charging people during spring when the weather was beautiful. It wasn't that hot. It wasn't that miserable. Now that it is, I'm gonna charge you like 120 or 80 to 100 if you want to stay on a biweekly schedule. So during summer you should be increasing your prices even more. But again, if you're new, just take the job and I don't know, just take the job and get whatever you can. Dillis, that's awesome. I used the Google site last year and got 20 requests. I'm excited for this upcoming season. Leaving to service a corner lot and leaf cleanup today. Nice, nice, Dillis. Yeah, yeah. Around this time, it's when we'll get a couple, which you're already getting, like a couple cleanup jobs from people that didn't do anything throughout the winter and now they're finally getting to it. And I know last year, I landed like a pretty big job. It was like 15 or $1,600 job, and it was mainly like leaf cleanup. And then she had a lot of junk, and I was like, hey, I was like, we're gonna be, I was like, and I think that was the only job for that day. And I had Jacob and my dad was visiting, so he was with us. And I was like, hey, I was like, we can take all that junk because it was like a playground, a trampoline. It was like just a lot of crap everywhere, or a lot of not everywhere, but it was like a lot of junk just piled up that I knew she kind of wanted to get rid of. So I was like, hey, I was like, since we're here, if you want us, we can haul that off. It'll be an additional like $400. And she's like, okay. So that job turned out to like close to $2,000 job from one cleanup job. Um, but yeah, those cleanup jobs are good. So hopefully we get a couple. This year I haven't really landed that many, but that same client, I told her like, hey, like if you want to sign up with us, we come out bi-weekly, and then up from December through February, we go out once a month, and it's just to mulch up what leaves are left. I like, but you don't have to deal with this, with this high invoice or service anymore because we'll take care of it. And I still have that client. Dillis, good point, Central Texas. What's the weather over there? It's raining over here, which I was going to do a video of our entrance to like our corner lot. So when we have because we live in a little cul-de-sac, so when we come into the cul-de-sac, there's like a little common area. Um, and my wife was telling me yesterday, there's like, oh, it looks like someone's raking the leaves because there's piles of leaves, and we don't have like a HOA, so it's kind of like a free-for-all. But I guess because it's our entrance, someone wants to make it look nice. And I was like, I'll do it tomorrow, but it started raining today. But I was like, we've been here for like 7 years and someone always does it. And it's like the guy that owns the lawn care service should maybe do it once in a while. So I was like, I'll do it. I don't want to do it, because if I'm being honest, like I'm not getting paid for it. I don't want to do it for free. But at the same time, it's like, like I need to because I live in the neighborhood and I've never done it. I've serviced like that whole property once, like during summer when it was like super overgrown. I was like, I'm gonna just cut it. Um, but just the idea of like someone out there kind of like raking it and it's gonna take them like a full, like, well, they started yesterday and they're not able to do it today, but it's gonna take them like 2, 3 like days. Um, and I was just gonna do it, and it's probably gonna take me by myself like an hour and a half. Um, but I have the equipment, I know what to, it's easy. It's not easy, but like I have the equipment to like do it and save that person from raking all those leaves. Because I don't know if you like, there's a lot of trees out here in Georgia. Juan Perez, cloudy in Dallas, Texas, 10:43. So you guys are an hour behind. Yeah, it's raining down here. It's been raining all day. Dillis just got some good rain. More coming within weeks. My average per lawn is 45 total, and takes me 45 minutes to finish an average push mower and basic blower, weed eater. Georgia is beautiful, huh? Georgia is beautiful. It's so beautiful. Um, just coming from the city, from LA, I figure it's kind of like Austin, Los Angeles, New York, these big cities, and then coming down to like the suburbans and the greenery, the trees. They're just so beautiful and therapeutic. And I didn't realize like how much like nature can really like affect you. You're like it just feels so surreal. You're like, damn, like I'm dreaming. Just because I'm used to it now, but like even sometimes like, damn, like I kind of like take it for granted. And then when I went back to California a couple months ago, I was like, I do not miss this. I do not miss the traffic, the noise, everything's so close together, the homeless people. Um, I had a couple of my family members ask me like, oh, when are you gonna move back? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. And then inside my mind, I was like, never, 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 never. But they're used to it. That saying where like birds will not, even though they can fly anywhere they want, like they'll stay within their wherever they grew up, like because that's all they know. And I feel like a lot of people are that way. Like they don't explore. Like they're so used to their like inner circle that they don't explore. And then for me, I was kind of like forced to move to Georgia because of my wife. And pretty much she was like, hey, I'm moving to Georgia. I would love for you to come. If not, we'll call it what it is, because we were dating back then. Um, and then ultimately I moved, and it's been the best blessing in my life. Blow, how many years have you done this? This would be my fifth year doing lawn care. And the first two years and a half, I was, like Eden and a lot of us, like I was juggling my full-time job with starting this. And like I said, like my first year, I ended up with like 17 clients. But these were kind of like, oh, come every 3 weeks, come once a month. And then after like year 2.5 is when I had like 35 bi-weekly clients, like good bi-weekly clients. And I was like, okay, like I've kind of like built my foundation where I can at least make close to like what I'm making at my full-time job. And I left my full-time job 2.5 years later. And then this is going to be my third year doing this full-time. And it's nice, like I work 8, 9 months out of the year. During winter, we still work, but it's very minimal. And I'm able to pay my bills. I'm able to be more with the family. I'm not having to deal with like inventory, cooks calling out, dealing with clients, complaints, sending out, reports every night. Getting that text message, when we be eating, I get those text messages. Hey, Manny, so-and-so call out. We need you. I'm like, oh. So then I would stop what I'm doing and go to work. And then the next year, oh, here you go, Manny. Here's your 2% raise. You'll make $100 more. Thank you so much. Kaden, keep up the videos. I'm starting my own lawn business this year, and your videos are a big help. I appreciate it. Appreciate it, Kaden. That's all. That's all I want. Just help you guys out, motivate you. Um, Remember, I had zero experience. I remember once I was servicing a property, and it was literally just a mow and go. Not even a mow and blow go. It was just a mow and go. I would just mow, lift up my mower on the back of my Corolla, and then drive off. And then one time the owner finally came out after me doing this for like a month, maybe 2 months. He was like, "Hey," he was like, "Let me ask you something." He's like, "When you go to the barber, he's like, does he just cut your side or does he cut everything? When you leave, does he blow the hair off of your face, or does he just let you go?" And I kind of like knew knew where it was going, but I just stayed quiet. And dude, he ripped me a new one. He was so upset. He's like, because it was a corner lot, and he was like, it's like, "You make my yard look like shit. You don't mow, you don't trim, you don't blow." He's like, "You just mow and you go." And then I was like, "Let me look into it." Because I was just so naive. I was so dumb. Because I was like, "Oh, it's just mowing. How hard can it be?" So then I started watching videos. And I was like, "Oh, I'm not doing that." I was like, "I'm not doing that." "Oh, you're supposed to do that." Uh, and I still have that account today, and no complaints. But sometimes you need that. We think we know it all, and we don't. But congrats, Kaden. Hopefully you make it, because not everyone's gonna make it, but it takes time. For me, it took 2.5 years. Some people have been doing this for 5 years and still juggle both. Some people left their job that first year with no clients, and now they're killing it. I've my mentor that I don't really talk to him anymore because he lives 2 hours away and we're not in the same area. So it's very hard for me to like talk to him about my neighborhood or about work when we're not in the same neighborhood. But when I first started, I would just send him messages. He would answer them all. But same thing. I think he had like a job where he was making like $10 or $11, and he was a meth head, a crackhead. You know, he was addicted to all types of drugs, alcohol. Um, and one day he just quit his job and he's like, "I'm just gonna go cut yards." Fast forward to now. Last year, he made 165,000 cutting grass. He has one employee, and he currently has 44 clients, but they're all weekly accounts. He doesn't do biweekly, and it's like crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy what lawn care can do for you. And now he's in a better spot. He's no longer addicted, and I think this year he should be able to hit like 200 to 2, I'd say 200 to 215,000 just cutting grass. Blow, that's nice. Thank you. Dillis, have a good one, bro. You too, brother. Blow, you have a point. Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, don't get discouraged not being able to go full time that first year or second year. What you want is progress. Even if you start off, even if last year you started off with 0 clients and then this year you have 5 clients, like that's still progress. My advice would be make sure you have signs on your truck, on your trailer, invest, the couple $100 that's gonna cost you. Like look the part, like that was something about me, is like look the part where you look professional, like you look like you have your shit together, even though you only have like 5 accounts. because people are going to come up to you, neighbors are going to come up to you. When they see you driving, they're going to take a picture of your trailer, of your signs. Like, oh, hey, when we have a party, we can call him. Kaden, do you only offer weekly mows, or if a customer wants it less frequently, do you still accept? So I only do pretty much bi-weekly. When a client calls, and we meet, I give them two options. Do you want to go? I only offer weekly or bi-weekly, and that's it. And then same thing, like now it's I need a card on file, and I bill you at the beginning of the month. Because just by doing those three things, you're they're gonna realize, like, is this something, like, am I fully committed, or am I not? And for me now, I'd say like about like I would say I probably land like maybe like 50 to 40 to 50% of clients now because of these policies. But I'm at a point where I was like, I'm okay losing, not landing every client. Maybe for you, Kaden, maybe you're okay going every 3 weeks, paying per visit because you're starting off. Because you give yourself a better chance of landing more clients. And then down the road, do what I did, where it's like, okay, now I have a good set of clients. Now I'm gonna start experimenting with new clients and doing with what I just did. But it's very rare for me to land weekly clients where I'm at. I don't know if it's just my area, or I don't know if I just haven't really been pushing it that hard. But for me, I'm okay going bi-weekly because um, I'm okay with it. I know sometimes they'll be a little bit more overgrown, but I have the equipment, I have the employee, where it's kind of like, okay, like 2 weeks is fine. And then, during summer for us, we really don't get that much rain. So that's why I'm aware of that. And I know, like, okay, during spring it's gonna grow a lot. It's gonna take a little bit longer, but then come summer or throughout summer, like, it's gonna be very minimal work. And typically during summer it's like, dang, like, it doesn't even need it, but I'm still gonna do it because remember spring when I was here like 30 minutes longer. Now I take my 30 minutes back. And sometimes you need to explain that to clients when they're like, oh, can you skip us during summer? Like, well, Bob, remember during spring I was here like 30, 40 minutes longer now. Or like, it's not fair for you to skip a service, but during spring you were texting me like, hey, are you coming today? And it's another thing that they don't realize that. Eden, um, so I got maybe like 3, 4 more minutes. Eden, I need to figure out how to do card on file. I do have QuickBooks online, and I think it's possible with that. It is. I have QuickBooks, and you're able to do that. So Eden, download Stripe, Stripe. It's free, and it's super easy to do. You're able to, all you need is their credit card, their full name, and an email address, and then their billing zip code. And then you make a profile, and then you charge it. You charge it at the beginning of the month or per service, whatever you want to do. I know a few people do at the end of the month. I never got that. It's like you're gonna do the service for one whole month and then ask for payment. Like, I feel like that's a little, I don't know, for me, like, I'd be nervous that, like, I would lose a whole month's worth of work if they just stop paying or the card doesn't go through. Like, I'd rather get paid up front because I know that I'm gonna do the work. I don't know if you're gonna pay your invoice. But Eden, Stripe, yeah, and pretty much how Stripe makes, how they make their money is, Stripe makes their money by charging you a fee. So they're gonna charge you 3% of per transaction. So what I would do is when you give out a quote, just add 3% to that quote, which will cover the processing fee. Eden, I have Stripe account, so I need an app too. Yeah, just download the app. Download the app, and then super easy to do. You'll be able to figure it out on your own. That's what I do. I think I have right now like 5 or 6 accounts that I charge at the beginning of the month. And then they're all taken care of. They're no longer asking to be skipped. But All right, appreciate y'all. Appreciate the people that joined, asked questions. It was nice talking to you guys as always. If you guys are watching this late, I appreciate you taking your Sunday or whatever day to watch me. But appreciate y'all.